It is 7 p.m. and I call the December 12th, 2022 regular school board meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brian Wolfhat, would you please call the roll?
Maggie Smith.
Present.
Gary Dunlop.
Here.
Chris Lau.
Here.
Bridget Todd Robbins.
Here.
Brian Wolfhat. Here. Barb Wench.
Here.
Alan Fox.
Here.
Jennifer Deek.
Here. For 7 of the 7 members present, I declare a quorum. I note that the agenda has been posted, distributed, and sent to the local media. With this in mind, are there any changes to this agenda? I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
All right, Chris has moved.
Second.
Brian has seconded. To approve the agenda as published. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as published, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion to approve the published agenda has passed. All right, we don't have any public participants that have registered tonight to an agenda item. Okay, moving on to the district administrator's report. Dr. Mueller.
Yeah, just a reminder that our elementary students have art that's going to be displayed down at the pump house. And if you get a chance to go down, there's a reception on December 14th from 3 to 6. So great way to see the talents that they have and the artists we have in the district. Also, on a note, I just want to take a moment to recognize the passing of James Brush. Mr. Brush, he was a great supporter in the School District of Holmen and actually was key to the construction and the naming of Empire Stadium. He had passed away late November in that, and our condolences go to the Brush family. And also, just we've had this house fire in town that many of us had heard about, and we are here for the families and here to support in any way we can, and we have a great community. We have saw the support already happening, so just our hearts go out to them. So that's what I have for this evening. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to reports and discussion. Director of Safety and Student Services, Matt Myers, will now present the school safety plans, which will appear on tonight's consent agenda.
All right, we are here to talk a little bit about our district safety updates and our safety plan review for this school year. And we do have some exciting changes that I know Jill spoke about in September, and we'll review some of those and then talk through some of our next steps. Of course, this matters, and it matters even more now. When we look at our nationwide Gallup education poll, the question was posed, thinking about your oldest child, when he or she is at school, do you fear for his or her physical safety? And again, nationwide, parents, 44% of them said yes, they fear, which is our highest percentage since March of 2001. Those high numbers came shortly after Columbine, and we're seeing high numbers again after the tragedy in Uvalde. So that reinforces to us, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because safety is on so many people's minds. Having clear and articulated plans are really important to our stakeholders. Wisconsin Act 143 does outline some requirements for school districts. You'll see some of the bullet points talk about the last time we approved safety plans, or you approved safety plans, was last December. We'll be asking for that to occur again, our comprehensive and our building safety plans, so that we can upload those with a new date. They do also require annual school safety or school violence drills, which Dr. Mueller brought to you at the last board meeting. We'll go back a year and look at our 2021 ones as a part of this presentation, and then talk about 2022 next year. And then also all of our school personnel are trained on the mandatory reports of threats of school violence. So looking a little closer, here are the drills that were conducted at our schools along with the dates in 2021. We've also had a number of trainings, so even looking back beginning this summer, training in threat assessment management, which many of our district administrators or other staff have been through, had previous training, but whenever they offer one, we like to try to get somebody there if we can, just to make sure we have everything updated and the most accurate and current information. 3 of our district administrators in July went to a training on the standard response protocol, which we've implemented in our district, and then the standard reunification method, which partners with that. We brought that back to our entire leadership team in August, and then combined that with the beginning of the school year training for all of our district staff, viewing a video that Travis had helped coordinate on the standard response protocol, which just updated our procedures and terminology and tried to simplify everything into the core aspects of what you need to do in any type of hazard experienced in a school. And then as a part of our annual in-service process, all of our staff members complete training on the mandatory reporting of threats of school violence. One of our, last year when we did our WISCA assessment, one of our priority areas that was identified by our external reviewer was just upgrading our reunification processes, and we had started to do some of that work already. So we're thinking about anytime there's a critical event that could happen at one of our buildings and we need to move students from point A to maybe a different location, how will we reunify them with our parents, and really working kind of on the nitty-gritty and the details of our processes there. So our district is planning for that monthly, and then we do a lot of homework in between those meetings. These are really multi-agency, which I'll highlight in the next slide, and that really fit well with our training on July 12th. And again, our district leadership team meetings are continuing. Because of our work with reunification, we've always had a school resource officer, but we've kind of expanded that and have more representation in those meetings from the Holmen Police Department, the Holmen Area Fire Department, who are always participating in that. And then recently, our La Crosse County Emergency Management Director began to join us, along with the La Crosse County Sheriff Deputy and Gunderson Tri-State Ambulance Service. So really good work that we're doing there. We're really proud of that work and proud of the way that all of the community and our school staff are kind of coming together to do some of that work. And it's led to a good, I would say, email Rolodex for myself when we have questions outside of reunification, to have connections with all those people and get quick responses because of those relationships that our district is taking the time to build. When we look at our comprehensive school safety plan, really looking at kind of 4 phases. So the prevention, mitigation, preparedness and planning, and then response and recovery when those events do happen. Just overviewing some of the things that we do, the big change we made this year was to upgrade our anonymous threat reporting system to Stop It, which has allowed us to have more two-way messaging, and then has some services after hours where things are streamlined or sent to Jill and I or law enforcement and monitored by agents outside of our district. We also want to reduce the effect of things happening. We've really enhanced our tabletop exercises, and then we look at different incidents that happen around the state or the country and debrief on those and plan for what would our processes look like. And I think we've recently seen that with the spam, the swatting calls that were coming to school districts, and our team wanted to get together quickly and communicate with La Crosse County Dispatch, communicate with HPD, figure out how we would handle that as a situation, or as if that situation occurred in our district, and make sure that our processes were tight there. In the area of preparedness, I would say our medical response teams have really been enhanced. So if there's an injury or an accident that happens in our schools, each school building safety plan has a designated medical response team. And I'd credit our building administrators and school nurses for really working to refine some of those processes and collaborate with each other to see what each school is doing, so that there can be, if a good idea is happening at Evergreen, for example, we want that to be replicated across our district. And then again, working directly with our first responders allows us to have better plans and practices, and all of us just kind of being in the same room with the right hand learning what the left would do. In terms of response, again, our big change is implementing the standard response protocol. So we have 5 actions that we would take as an all hazards approach. Hold, secure, lock down if something violent or the wrong person was in our buildings. And we do identify that locking down or getting behind a locked door is the safest thing to do unless anyone in particular or closer knows more about the situation and they feel that their or their student safety and security is threatened. They can certainly use the ALICE protocols to evacuate or begin to think about counter or do what they need to do to assure their safety and security in that incident. And then we also have our evacuate and shelter protocols. In the area of recovery, so again, if we have a critical incident or something that we need to respond to, looking down the road at recovery, what does that look like, and getting back to learning in the safest way possible and as quickly as possible. And a big kudos to our district crisis response and recovery team and our student services personnel who work to enhance some of those plans. In terms of comprehensive plan updates, I've kind of hit on some of these things, but we updated our language, so the standard response protocol is used, and you can see the poster in our boardroom here with our good clean visuals that helps us remember some of that information in times that, in high stress times when clunky terminology or code words would not be helpful. We've increased more information on reunification, increased our processes in crisis response and recovery, and then have our district-wide implementation of Stop It. Building safety plan-wise, again, updated with that SRP, the standard response protocol language. Building principals work to update staff who serve in different roles as year-to-year turnover happens or someone takes on a different role. We also make annual procedural improvements if we get new information or have a learned experience. And then I spoke earlier about our enhancements to our medical response teams. Finally, if we take a look at our next step, we're going to continue that good work with reunification, getting more hands-on with some of that stuff and really working through our processes as a collaborative group. We want to digitize more parts of our safety plan for increased access and availability. So right now our safety plan is a long Google Doc that could be cumbersome to find things when we really need to. So we want to put that in a format where we can click more and get to some information quicker if we need to, when we need to. We're going to continue that work with all of our community first responders and leverage those partnerships across the county. So because of some of the good work that we're doing, we're realizing and learning that if we have a critical incident here, it might be Onalaska responding or it might be La Crosse. So we want to make sure that we're working with all of our county partners and sharing our work with other school districts and vice versa. And then a never-ending task for us is to respond and learn from any safety events that are happening in our district, the community, the state, or the country. And I think I said this last time, but because I always focus on next steps and work, I did not highlight the work in critical incident mapping. So our district was awarded a $21,000 grant from the Department of Justice, Office of School Safety. So we're working with a vendor right now to do critical incident maps, which are digital maps of all of our buildings that officers can pull up on their phones or their computers and just have quicker access. So if a call comes in that something, for instance, is happening in the art room, it's no longer a guess, or we're not relying on institutional knowledge for someone to know where that art room is, especially, as I mentioned earlier, if it's a responding first responder that is not familiar with our buildings or not familiar with our district. That'll be another nice tool that we can provide for them as a school district. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, I have, I guess one thing. So, it looks really good. And we have these great plans in place. I guess for my, I didn't see anything about frequency of rehearsing all these drills with different scenarios and things like that. And I guess I can't stress enough how important that piece of it is, because my name's on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean that I know what I'm doing when something happens. And to just think of different scenarios of, what happens, does that second person in line when the building administrator is there know what they're gonna do? What if there's 3 people on your list that aren't there? Do they know what they're going to do? And just rehearsing that probably more than people want to, because if it's just not ingrained and I think you tend to become complacent, and then something happens, and then you panic, and I don't know, are you gonna go look for a piece of paper to figure out what you're supposed to do, or you should just know what you're supposed to do, right? So, I guess I just can't stress that enough, is reversing this.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. So even when we talk about having a formal drill, that's one thing, but it's also great to just have a tabletop exercise and look at an event or look at something that happened. Maybe a fire alarm was pulled in the morning at a school, and debrief. How did that go? How did that happen? Because you're right, in that situation, there's probably not as many people in the building who are on that list of taking charge. So always great to talk through those things. We do that as a district safety team, and our building safety teams do as well. So, but you're right, you can't do it enough.
Can't do it enough, so that's all I have. All right, thank you. I guess moving on to item 8.2, Director of Business Services Crystal Mott will present the financial statement and management letter. This item will appear on the January 9th consent agenda.
All right, good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the highlights of our audit report. So as a reminder, a presentation was made to our Finance Committee on October 10th. And at the annual meeting on October 24th, information was presented about the audit report in the Treasurer's Report. The Treasurer's Report included our 21-22 revenues and expenditures, fund balance information, budget, deficit and surplus, and debt due. The original budget that was presented by Julie Holmen included the actual 2021 revenue and expenditures, the unaudited 21-22 revenue and expenditures, which again are still unaudited until this final action is taken, and then the original 22-23 budget. The budget information is available on the website, and the audit information will be updated shortly. This is the final step before taking that board action to finalize the 21-22 audit. So our final audit included a report of unmodified opinion on financial statements, federal awards, and state awards. There was one non-compliance noted to our financial statements, which will be reviewed again on an upcoming slide. And then just a reminder that the financial statements have been updated with the new GASB 87 requirement on leases. So as just indicated, our financial statements, federal awards and state awards all received an unmodified opinion, which is what we strive for. We want to receive that from our auditor in those areas. This is part of the audit report. This is on the financial statement specifically, again demonstrating that unmodified opinion with no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted. That non-compliance, however, was noted. And again, this was in reference to our actual expenditures being more than our budgeted expenditure amount. And again, as reviewed, there were unforeseen circumstances at the end of the year where that budget was exceeded. We had technology items arriving, which came in June prior to our fiscal year end, and then urgent HVAC needs that we just needed to take care of. This was an isolated incident, meaning it was not a prior year finding. We do monitor and amend the budget as necessary, and will continue to do so to ensure expenditures do not exceed the budgeted amount. This is the section on federal awards, again an unmodified opinion. Federal awards have a dollar threshold of $750,000. So if we receive grant funds in excess of that amount, we have a single audit on that program. We did have that in child nutrition, special education, IDEA, and medical assistance, which are commonly the ones we do have them on for federal awards. And then for state awards, the same information presented, unmodified opinion. This dollar threshold is $250,000, and you can see here the special education and school age parent, the general transportation aid, and the per pupil aid were the state audits in this area. We were qualified as a low-risk audit. Finally, we have the management discussion and analysis, or MDA, which is at the beginning of the booklet that you had received this evening. And this is where we would recommend reviewing the information in a bit more detail. It is written by Business Services and is in addition to the information provided by the auditor, and is meant to provide information in a non-technical format, just giving some insight into trends and a narrative for reading and comprehending the information. It does also report on budget to actual variances with certain thresholds that we've established to report on. We do have the 21-22 financial statements on the next board meeting consent, and it is recommended for approval at that time. Any questions?
No questions today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda items. For the consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background materials on each item or has discussed it at a previous meeting. These will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled out of the consent agenda and will be voted on separately. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as provided.
So moved.
Second.
Maggie? All right, motion by Brian, seconded by Maggie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the board debrief. I will call upon board members and ask you to present any comments or committee reports you have. Tonight we'll start with Maggie.
Yeah, no committee reports from me, but I did want to say congratulations to all of the elementary artists whose art will be at the Pump House. I am very much looking forward to viewing it all on Wednesday. And then, since this is the last full board meeting before break, I just wanted to take a minute and express my gratitude to everybody on the district team for everything that you're all doing for our students. And I hope everyone has some rest and a safe holiday break.
Okay, Gary.
Hi. I'd like everybody to make sure they're safe this holiday and just make a comment about all the great things happening in the school system right now. It seems like every time I pick up Facebook or look at the news, there's something about one of our schools or the high school students doing something really good, winning state contests and doing so well. It's really gratifying to see it. Of course, the communication really helps now too. You know what's going on a lot better, and that's been great for the community. We did have a finance committee meeting. It was really a lot of fun. We started reviewing the policies that are going through the finance committee. We have about 8 that we're going to review in the next couple of meetings. We got through 5 of them tonight for initial review, and those were budget adoption procedures, 625 budget publication dissemination, 626 budgeting system, 652 investment policy, 662.3 district fund balance designation, 671.2 travel expenses. We're going to start with our meeting next meeting with that one. A lot of those policies are very solid. We fill in the blanks and filled in Julie's name where the blanks were. It said so we'll be responsible. Little blank there. We filled in all those with Julie, so she appreciates that, I'm sure. And we talked about how the budget hearing follows a script that's common for union type high schools. Let's see what else. added the administrator again, Julie's responsible to maintain a 2-year forecast for us. We talked about who is able to make investments in the name of the school board and who can make deposits and take money out of the school board system. We also talked an awful lot about the general fund and how that's derived and what it all means and where that money goes. We'll do some more work on those the next time and fill in the blanks. And hopefully after that meeting, we'll be able to bring a bunch of these forward to the school board for approval. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Gary. All right, Chris.
I just wanted to say congratulations and thank you to the HMS drama group with the staff and students. I had the pleasure of seeing their play Wrinkle in Time this weekend, a couple of times actually, and it was very well done. I know they had a lot of kids that were involved in that, both in the cast and crew, so there was 2 separate performances of it, but they did an exceptional job. It was really great to see all the engagement from the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, so very well done. And then we do have our policy and governance meeting next week, Wednesday, at 5 o'clock. So that's all we have for updates.
All right, thanks, Chris. Rebecca.
Yeah, I agree with Gary. There's just so many amazing things happening in our district. I'm going to kind of leave most of them to Alan because he does such a great job of talking about all of those. But I did want to just point out, I really enjoy the new alumni spotlight. I know Ryan Chapman was highlighted, and I think what a great representative of how our students end up impacting communities, our nation, the world. And I know he in particular has come back and given presentations to like the Diverse Cultural Alliance and talking about racial equity within the Naval Academy. And just, I love that he's supporting scholarships. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of those spotlights.
Okay, thanks, Bridget. Brian.
We have a student achievement and learning committee meeting coming up a week from today. And as we approach the holiday break, I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays and enjoy the time with friends and family.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Barb.
I echo everything that everybody has said tonight. I think we need to give a special acknowledgement out to somebody sitting up here with your state quiz bowl accomplishment. Looking forward to hopefully going to see some of the concerts at the elementary schools that are this time of year. So just wishing everybody a relaxing winter break. A few weeks.
Alan.
Like Bridget and Gary said, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and I'd go through all of it, but I know I'd miss something. There's a bunch of basketball, swim, wrestling, powerlifting, gymnastics, dance. There's a band concert in like 2 minutes. Hockey, a whole bunch of stuff. Pretty much every day this week there's something going on. The Chalet's opening this week at 6 p.m. Make sure you go there. They've been doing a lot of work with raising funds for Mike Hickey. He's been struggling with cancer for a long time now, but really a lot of great work. A lot of students doing a whole lot, not only in the community, but like with all the athletics and stuff and doing really good with that. I'm going to try not to take a whole lot of time with them. Like seriously, there's a lot of stuff and I don't think I could cover it all. Yeah, but yeah.
All right, thank you. I also really looking forward to the art show on Wednesday down at the Pump House. Congrats to all the elementary school artists that have had their art down at the Pump House. I guess just with the holidays coming up and there's so much sickness going around, I just want to say wash your hands. Take care of yourself. Wear a mask if you're in crowds. Stay healthy so everybody can enjoy the holidays. And lastly, I just want to say to the board members that on your weekly update, there's a link in there for the 2023 proposed resolutions for the conference in January. So please review those, and I understand that I need to vote. I know Chris did this last year. I need to vote on them, so if you have any concerns over any of them, please let me know. So. Okay, moving on to school board committee written reports. There are notes from the October 17th, 2022 SULC meeting in the board materials. Please review that. Our upcoming board meeting schedule. We have a couple committee meetings coming up. December 19th at 4:30 is the Student Achievement and Learning Committee meeting. December 21st at 5 p.m. is the Personnel and Governance Committee meeting. And then our next two board meetings are in January on the 9th and the 23rd with the State Education Convention in Milwaukee running from the 18th through the 20th. So looking forward to that as well. Also in your packets, there are 4 policies and administrative rules that will be discussed at upcoming meetings. So take a look at where those stand right now. And there are 7 policies that the Student Achievement and Learning Committee is advancing for first reading. And if these policies are approved, they would become effective July 1 of 2023. So take a look at those as well. And lastly, the board has also received instructions to complete its self-evaluation. I know a couple of them are complete already, so please take the time to do that so we can actually work with Chris and others and see how we can improve as a board, see where we stand now and how we can improve as a board. So I think that is all I have. So is there any other business that needs to come before the board at this time? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Okay, Barb has moved,
I will second.
Chris has seconded to adjourn the meeting at 7:31 p.m. Motion carried. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes.